Hello, it's Karen from Wild Woman Tarot here, and I thought I would talk to you today about the tarot oils. I've had quite a few questions asked recently about the blends, what's in them, where to find the information in my books, and just a few other questions. And I thought, clearly I need to do a bit of sharing of information. So to answer the first and most obvious question, the tarot oils are not just a blend of three different essential oils. They were the blends themselves, the essential oils, or in some cases, the concretes that had to actually go into each major arcana tarot oil blend were channeled. So 25 years ago, I was getting woken up in the middle of the night with different aromas in my bedroom. My husband was sleeping, fast asleep next to me, none the wiser. And, sometimes I'd actually have an old man sitting on the end of the bed and I'd wake up and there'd be a conversation. Sometimes it was just the aromas. And, in the morning as I woke up, I'd be given which tarot card it's for. They were all a little bit different. There's 22 of them, so it took a while for that to happen. And channeling and, being given information in the middle of the night was not something that I was really into doing 25 years ago, I've got to be honest. Actually, I think it's over 25 now, but it was a bit of a stretch for me. And I was a little bit frightened at first, to be completely frank. But in the end, I was so tired, I just gave in and I made up the blends. And I had no idea initially what they were for, but I ended up with 22 of them. And anyway, long story short, I ended up going and studying the tarot as a result of having these blends, because I needed to know more about how to work with them. Although from a healing perspective, it was uncomplicated, bringing the tarot archetype in gave them a depth and a breadth that I needed to skill up for. So it's not just choosing three different oils and putting them together. And the essential oils, it's a 10% dilution. So 10% essential oil blend and the rest is jojoba. And I was given to do that. It wasn't so much about the costing, but it was more about being able to transport them and send them to people wherever they are in the world. Pure essential oils, 10 mil with some of these blends would just be astronomically expensive. So it was a factor, but it wasn't the main thing. So some of the oils, some of the tarot oil blends are a little unusual. And thinking, when they were first created, back then, there was only one essential oil company in Australia. So aromatherapy was not a big thing. People didn't really know that much about it here in Australia. And some of the oils were really difficult to access at that time. But there's a lot of funny stories about how I ended up with certain oils. Talking to somebody on a switchboard on the telephone, got me connected up with growers and, funny things like that. So just really almost random, seemingly accidental things connected me up. So things like, for example, with the High Priestess Oil, it's just absolutely a sensational blend. And the three main oils in that one are Artemisia, wild thyme, not red thyme, not standard thyme, wild thyme was very specific, and jasmine. Now, it is not just about the therapeutic and properties and the vibrational frequency of these individual substances, but it's actually the blending together of them. And the thing with the taro oils that I have not really promoted much, actually at all, is that they weren't just mixed together and shoved in a bottle. They were made in bulk. I used to do them in 1 litre bulk blends. And there was a particular deck that I used to infuse the vibrational frequency of the major arcana archetype into the blend. And I used certain esoteric symbols that I would hang above the bottles, and they would sit there with the card under these esoteric symbols for about a week. And from time to time, I'd be given that I needed to go and do some energy work with them. There was a lot of singing, let me tell you. When it was time to take the oils and decant them and then bottle them, I actually had to sing constantly. And it wasn't so much about the words that were sung, although sometimes that was important. I just went with it and was basically totally guided. So it was a profound meditative state, bottling hundreds of taro oils. And, you know, these 10 ml amber bottles, they have little drippolators in the top and then that sit inside of the black lid. And so, you know, you pour the concoction in, and then you stick the lid on, you tighten it up, then you label it, and you know, it's just me doing it. And so I'd sit there and I would just sing the entire time. It was quite a beautiful process. And over the years, there have been times when I've had to change the essential oil or where it's grown, because it's not just about yes, we want sandalwood. It had to be the sandalwood grown on a certain piece of land. For example, lavender. Lavender's in a couple of the taro oil blends, but they're different lavenders. One is a French alpine, and it had to be one grown at a certain height, because at that time I was able to, various times, I've been able to get the essential oil. 1 year I could get it from that company, but another year I had to get it different because the crop was different. Certain oils are grown, or you know, the plants are grown in more than one country, but I was given which continent they had to come from, whether it was cold pressed or steam distilled. All of those sorts of things were given, and it was the magical aspect rather than just purely the aromatic, you know, aromatherapy kind of story. So yeah, that's kind of the background of the taro oils. Now, I did actually trademark the name taro oils because I was given to do that. And the main reason from my conscious perspective was that I didn't want someone stopping me from being able to use the name. You know, because there was no such thing as a taro aromatherapy blend back then. There are other people who are doing that sort of thing now. Not these particular blends, of course. Everybody's got their own take on these things. And look, in my book, Tarot and Aromatherapy, I actually do have recorded the ingredients for each of the 22 tarot oils. In my book, Tarot Healing, I actually have a list and an explanation of an individual oil for each of these tarot archetypes, because sometimes to get something, for example, oak moss is in one of the blends. Not everybody's going to be able to access that. So I've actually got a listing of an individual, just one single essential oil that can represent and hold a vibration for that major arcana archetype. So I'm hoping that answers some of your questions about the tarot oils. One of the things that I find that I use them for myself, really, as an anointing oil, really. Like you can use it as a personal fragrance, but more than that, it's actually for our healing and our advancement, I guess, as souls, to help us to move through certain challenges. I mean, we all know, if we're going through a really challenging time, if we've got tower experiences everywhere, it's actually the tarot oil that is going to support you as you move through that. So that particular blending of essential oils, plant energies, is going to raise your vibration, strengthen you, so that you can move through that tower experience with greater ease. I think that's probably all I've got to share at the moment, but if you have any questions about the tarot oils and their creation and how to use them, please contact me and let me know. You can email me, karen@tarot.net.au, or ask a question on one of my social media platforms. I'm on Facebook and also on Instagram. All right. But highly recommend the tarot oils. Look, some people buy an individual oil at a pivotal moment in time for them, something that's going to help them. I know when people come and see me for tarot readings, there's usually a recommendation at the end of the reading which tarot oil would be appropriate, because it's part of the process that I do. And I always have oils in the space when we're doing our work together. There are a lot of psychics, tarot readers, and also esoteric or spiritual healers, Reiki channels and whatnot, even massage therapists, who incorporate the tarot oils into their work. So, and that's something that I came across, of course, by accident. You know how these things, apparently by accident. I was hanging out with some friends of mine in Hawaii, healers both, and we were doing some energy work, and so I used actually the tarot cards and the tarot oils, and it was a wonderful exploratory afternoon, actually, working with some really high vibe people, teasing out a process. And then, of course, years later, when I studied neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis and a few other things, I learned a beautiful archetype process, and that is actually in the Tarot Healing book, a way that you can use very specific tarot archetypes and get profound change. And of course, the tarot oils are marvelous because it's all about engaging all of the senses, the sense of smell, moving the body, a whole bunch of stuff in there. What else can I tell you? They're beautiful. They're beautiful. They add something quite special. I remember I was at a Mind, Body, Spirit show in Melbourne some years ago doing tarot healings. And it's really kind of the first time I really learned about the capacity for us to move in both directions of time to do healing work and clear blockages. Because up until that particular point in time, I'd only ever considered going backwards in time, present and back. But working with a particular woman at this Mind, Body, Spirit festival, with the cards and the tarot oils in combination, channeling clear vibrational frequency, under the guidance of spirit and whatnot. Spirit took me into the future. And so the healing work was actually done for this beautiful lady in future time. And so when we came back and then we sat together after the healing and talked about it, she absolutely understood, the messages that were given. So when we bring all these elements together, the fragrance in the tarot oil, the colors on the cards, the symbols, both physical and esoteric, as well as the huge thought form and the vibrational power of this archetypal concept that we draw in and access. So there's a lot to be said for working with the tarot oils. They add something really special and unique. And that is actually not about me, but absolutely and completely about spirit and the transference of energy, and also spirit's intention in making these available for people to really move through gently their, the blockages and challenges and the old junkola that they're ready to release. So yeah, as I said before, any questions, just give me a hoy. Happy to share some of the love, the tarot love with you. Okay, take care.